You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel. Dean, it's great to have you along in the studio, because I spoke to you a couple of times and I've been out and about, but it's the first time you've been up here.
Yeah, we've met a few times.
Well, I was hoping perhaps first of all to sort of introduce yourself to our listeners, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself and as an artist as well.
Yeah, sure. I've been working as a mural artist for over 20 years now. I started off on my own, just doing sort of children's bedrooms and things like that. And that grew over time, and I have people that help me now. I have assistants and things, and we do all kinds of things. We still do the odd children's room and things like that, but we do anything from up to sort of offices, up to the sides of a building and things like that. We've even painted water towers and things, so some of them get massive.
So some really big and small stuff.
Yeah. It's quite. I mean, that's what I like though. It's always different stuff. We're always painting different things, going different places, and sometimes it can be just sort of a few little fairies in a little girl's bedroom, and the next week you're off painting a huge sort of the side of a building somewhere and doing some massive zany piece of artwork or something. So it keeps it interesting.
So you've come along to this evening to talk all about Chalk It Up. We're going to talk about it in a bit more detail as the interview goes on, but I was hoping you could give our listeners sort of an introduction into it first of all.
Yeah, sure. It's but a lot of what I do in my work is permanent. We do it in paint, but in the past year or two I've been working quite a bit in chalk, because you can do it just temporarily out on the street. You don't need to get planning permission and things like that, and you can do some pretty amazing stuff right there for people to see, and I thought, wouldn't it be a good idea if we get a lot of artists together, and get them all doing the same sort of thing in an area. And I figured there's no better place than my old hometown, sort of Sittingbourne. So on the 6th of September, which is only a couple of weeks time now, we've got about 30 artists that are going to come down, and we're going to cover the high street in chalk. We're going to totally transform it. We're going to have a gallery of work running down the high street, all by different artists, and we're going to have stuff going off in the alleyways. There's loads of alleyways that come off the high street, and we're going to have a different theme in each one, and there's going to be loads of artists involved in that.
We are at the moment talking to Dean, and we're letting you know all about Chalk It Up. It's Sittingbourne Chalk Art Festival, and it's in September, and we're talking all about that this evening right here at the Monday Night Community Show. And Dean, I was next wondering if you can go over when and where it is and the times and that kind of thing.
Yeah, certainly. It's Saturday the 6th and Sunday the 7th of September this year. So that's, like I say, less than 3 weeks' time. It kind of starts at around about 10 o'clock to about 4. Artists will be there earlier to set up and to clear away afterwards. But on both days, 10 till 4, Saturday and Sunday.
So how did you come up with the idea then?
Well, I mean, people have always appreciated what I do. It's lovely to pass on, to have a talent and sort of display it to people, and to just have them show their appreciation for it. And I wanted to give that experience to other friends and artists that I know locally, who don't often get the chance to work in the public area. A lot of the time artists work very much alone. They sit at home in their little studios, scribbling away with their paintbrushes, sort of thing. And you don't often get a chance to go out and meet people and meet the public, sort of thing. So it's lovely to be able to give them that opportunity to work out in the public eye and get people's reactions, and I think it'll be really good for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's always nice for people to see your artwork. Sometimes you're doing it and it's a great way, and I think it's nice also that the everyday public get to see people producing art, 'cause sometimes that's the side you don't always see.
That's it. Everything is so mass produced nowadays. It's so nice to be able to see someone doing something that is all their own work, sort of thing. And that's I mean, pavement artists have been around for years, sort of thing. For centuries, pavement artists have been out there doing their thing on the sidewalk, on the pavement, sort of thing. It's they're called screevers. They used to call them, and there's even some famous screevers. I mean, Bert out of Mary Poppins, he was a screever. He was a chimney sweep, and he was a pavement artist. If you remember, in Mary Poppins. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I mean they've always existed, but it's nice to sort of that's what I'm saying. Just see someone that is doing a piece of work that can't be mass produced or anything like that, and it's not going to be there forever. It's just there until it rains and then it's gone, sort of thing. So
we are at the moment talking to Dean. We're talking to him all about Chalk It Up, Sittingbourne's Chalk Art Festival on the 6th and 7th of September, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the Sittingbourne High Street. We're talking to him all about Chalk It Up, Sittingbourne Chalk Art Festival. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit more about what's happening on the days, Dean.
Yeah, certainly. On the Saturday, like I say, we've got about 30 artists coming down. Now, some of them are going to be working on individual pieces on the floor. We're going to have a whole gallery of artists work all along the pavement. And there's going to be a real mix of artists there. Some of them are professionals, some of them are complete amateurs, and the whole range in between, sort of thing. So there's going to be a whole mixture of different artwork that you can see, and every artist is going to have their own little tin, so if you're passing you can show your appreciation by maybe sort of dropping a copper or two into their little pot. That would be lovely. And then, like I say, on coming off the high street, there's about 7 or 8 different alleyways coming off the high street, and in each one we're going to do a different theme. So in one it's going to be all underwater. In another it's going to be a woodland scene. In another one is going to be space. And you're going to have professional artists that are going to create a backdrop in each alleyway along each theme. And then members of the public are going to be invited to come along, and they can add their little bit to it along the theme, sort of thing, guided by the artist. So in, for example, the woodland one, you can add your own little butterfly or things like that, little flower. In the space one, you can do your own little star or a space rocket, things like that. So we're going to have a lot of sort of audience participation on the Saturday in the alleyways. And then on the Sunday, all the artists are going to come together, and we're going to create a big 3D mural up at Roman Square. So it's going to make it look like maybe there's a big hole in the ground, or there's something bursting out of the ground or something. We haven't settled on our final design yet, but we've got a few that we're working on. But yeah, we're going to have all the artists, because that's going to be quite big and impressive. So we're going to have all the artists working on that together. And yeah, it should be excellent.
It certainly sounds something worth going along and having a look at. I was wondering who is actually supporting you on the project.
Yeah, well, the whole project is funded by Ideas Test, who have given us a grant for materials and for expenses and things like that. I'm also sponsoring it myself as Marvellous Murals as well. And yeah, I mean, together we've got artists from all over the place, to be honest. We've got a lot of local artists. I've tried to get as many local artists as I can involved, and I need more. So if you're a local artist and you want to get involved, get in touch. But we've got artists that obviously have heard about the festival and they want to get involved as well, and they're coming from all over the place. We've got from other parts of Kent, we've got artists coming down, even as far away as sort of the other side of London and things like that. We've got a whole street artists crew that are coming down to do some work as well. So yeah, it should be really good.
So as well as the public getting to see street art happening, I suppose it's going to be a good opportunity for the artists to sort of learn from each other and meet other artists.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of the artists haven't done anything like this before, so it'll be a completely new experience for them. And yeah, they'll be working alongside artists that have done it before, and they can learn from them and share the experience. And likewise, you'll have people that have never done any drawing before in their life, and they're just asked to do some colouring in and things like that. And that's the thing. We need as much help from as many people as we can, sort of thing. But if you get in touch, you can register, and we can get you some chalk.
Dean, I was going to ask you what actually happens about the weather and using chalk.
Well, that's what most people always ask when you're doing chalk art and you're outside. Obviously, slightest bit of rain, it all gets washed away. We was down in Herne Bay just yesterday doing a big 3D mural on the floor for the air show. They had an air show down in Herne Bay, and it got to about 2 o'clock, and it had been a lovely day all day long, and we was nearly finished, and then all of a sudden the heavens opened, and I found myself hanging onto the side of my gazebo, just trying to hold on to it and watching all the work we'd done all day just wash away on a coloured tide sort of thing. So yeah, rain can be a problem, but on the actual weekend we do have contingency plans. We have up near in the Bell Centre, if it is really wet, we can use inside there. We've got a lot of floor space there. And obviously the alleyways, a lot of them are still covered, so they won't be affected. But obviously it will cut down on the amount of space and the amount of impact that we can do on the high street. So, but fingers crossed. I mean, if it's good weather, it's going to be spectacular. And even though it won't last for long, even if it just lasts a couple of days until it rains, then that's great. But at least everyone's got photographs and things like that. I mean, that's the nature of street art. It doesn't last forever, but you document it with photographs and things, and you have a record of it that way.
So if people would like to get involved, how can they contact you, Dean?
Well, you can email me at dean@marvellousmurals.co.uk, or you can call me on 01795 553584. You can go to our website, which is marvellousmurals.co.uk. If you go to /Chalk It Up, that'll give you all the details about the Chalk It Up festival as well. You can also find us on Facebook. If you go to facebook.com /Chalk It Up Sittingbourne. You can, or just search anywhere online for Chalk It Up, and I'm sure you can find us within a few clicks. So.
Well, Dean, hopefully the weather will be good. I'd like to thank you very much for coming along and letting our listeners know all about what you're doing.
It's been a pleasure, thank you.
That is Dean this evening talking all about Chalk It Up, Sittingbourne's Chalk Art Festival on the 6th and 7th of September between 10 and 4 p.m. in Sittingbourne High Street.